We are builders. We are crafters. We are fighters. We are Bear Hill Shire.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the Armachd checklist. The very first thing that you'll do is ignore all of this stuff on the right, because we haven't finished with that yet. The second thing that you'll do is choose a project that you will be inputting into the checklist. In this case, I will be starting with my salad, which I typed the name of in this box here, right next to project number 1. Was it a historically accurate end product? I would say it's close enough. So if I was making a completely original fantasy helmet or something, then obviously it would be no. Historically accurate process, simply means that the process you took to build this project was historically accurate. So for example, with this salad, if I had used an actual forge and only hammers and polished it with files and abrasives that existed in the 15th century only, then I would get the historically accurate end product, which carries quite a hefty multiplier to it. But of course I didn't. I used power tools, I used angle grinders and my belt sander and all of that, so I do not get the historically accurate process modifier on that. The practical demonstration is just having it demonstrated. Whether it works or not, just you putting it out there. What qualifies as a practical demonstration is you saying what the purpose of this project is supposed to fulfill, and then that comes in the second part, whether that was successful or not. But you've laid out exactly what you want the project to do, and before you've tested it, you've given it a pass-fail on that. If you just put it out there for demonstration, then you'll get that anyways, whether it passes or fails. So, for example, the salad would be wearing it in some sort of sparring or something, or running with it and making sure it doesn't fall off, riding a horse, wearing it and being able to see out of it, and that sort of thing. Whatever the practical demonstration is defined as prior to actually testing it. And so if you test it and it fulfills the criteria that you set out, then you would get yes. So if I set out the criteria for the salad to be wear it in sparring and it protects my noggin, and it does that, so yes. A research and presentation paper or presentation sort of thing, that would be something like a paper, obviously, but that's going into detail. It's more than just a few pictures with a very brief description. It's supposed to go into depth about your thought process and your historical research process, or doesn't have to be historical, of course, your research process, the tools that you use, just going into detail about that. And then of course a presentation, it could be like a PowerPoint or something, or a video or something like that, but some sort of research paper presentation. Contact your counselor about it. And so if you've done that, then yes, I would do that. So I did make a video about this, and I explain my research, I explain the process that I've went through in reasonable depth. The next thing is original concept. Now, an original concept is defined here as something that's new to Bear Hill Shire. So if nobody in Bear Hill Shire had ever seen a salad before, or at least had nobody had brought it to Bear Hill Shire before, then I would get the point for that. And I honestly don't remember if they had any sallets or anything, so I'm just going to go with no, because I feel like it's a little disingenuous to claim the sallet as an original design of my own. That's just me, though. But if I had come in wearing a fantasy helmet that I had drawn up myself and all of that, then that would be an original design or original concept. The next one is a video recorded process. This doesn't have to be as in-depth as the research presentation, it just has to be there and coherent, at least. So I did do that, and I just kind of bundled it up with the paper and presentation and all of that. And then the final one is a self-completed form, and that's just if you did this whole thing yourself. You didn't have your counselor do it or anything, and of course I did do that. And then counselor discretion is kind of like a subjective thing, where the counselor gets to decide a modifier if the project doesn't fit neatly into one of these other categories. For example, size is not accounted for in any of these, or the time that you've spent on it is not accounted for in any of these. But if that's a inherent part of the project, then that's where this comes in. So let's say, for example, my sallet was a closed sallet, which has a lot of moving parts. It's a fairly complex piece of equipment. My sallet isn't, just for clarification, but for this purpose, we'll say that it is. So there's a lot of moving parts in that. That's a fairly difficult thing to do. And so if it's done well and all of that, then you can go to the counselor and you can request that they make this modifier, and we'll keep it within reason. So for example, the historically accurate end product, that has ×2 multiplier. The process has a ×4 multiplier. I think that's the highest. And so we'll keep it within around there so that we're not like multiplying it by 50 or something outrageous like that. Let's say, I would say ×4 for the closed sallet, and then we'll just put that in manually for now because I haven't figured that out yet. And so that's how that works out, and then the total is put in right up here. So it's at 49 right now, and then as we fill in more, that total will keep adding up, and so that's how you get to the different levels and ranks and all of that. But that's separate from filling out the checklist, of course. Next thing that you'll do after you've done that is you'll just copy this. Make sure to include this little bottom line here. You'll copy that, we'll go down here, and you'll just paste the next one in. So we'll rename this one project number 2, and then breastplate. And then you'll just repeat that process for infinity. And that's really all that's to it.